នាងលោកស្រីដូរ៉ាស៊ីផលដើម្បីអញ្ជើញមកលើស្តេចតបតារបស់យើងមានប្រហែលជា45នាទីសូមអញ្ជើញមកទាំងអស់គ្នាមកបាទលោកខេងគុំជ្រាបបាទគេមកបាទគេ
ជឿចាំឈ្មោះតែហៅទាំងប្រមាណ
បាទ3នាក់ហ្នឹងមកដល់មកបាទដូច្នេះមានបាទប្រហែលជាម្នាក់ប្រហែលដល់5នាទីបាទសូមជឿបាទបាទមកក៏បាន
ជំរាបសួរទាំងអស់គ្នាខ្ញុំចេះស្ដាប់ខ្មែរហើយខ្ញុំចេះនិយាយខ្មែរច្រើនប៉ុន្តែថ្ងៃនេះខ្ញុំសូមឲ្យនិយាយអង់គ្លេសសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំអត់ដាច់សម្លេង Good morning and thank you all for this invitation to speak here today among honorary guests, friends and family. My name is Dr. Bokani Hem. And I have been requested to attend the summit on behalf of my parents, Bunarath and Ms. Parity Hem, to speak on behalf of the youth. My comments today are based on research that I've personally done myself, conversations that I've had with my friends and my family members, and of course my personal opinion. I'd like to first begin with the definition of youth. To most, the world, the youth pertains to those that are younger, particularly those that are under 30. The UN defines youth as those individuals that are between the ages of 15 and 24. At my age, I'm 33, I'm no longer considered a youth. But I did see a couple of individuals that were, well, they weren't here before, but I don't see them anymore. Is anybody here under 30? Raise your hand. Here? Yes? We got one? No, Mr. Walker, you're not. We have one, right? Under 30. How old are you? 28. Okay, good. So you represent the youth today, so that's very good. Okay. Currently in America, the youth are known as Cambodian American because we are first generation American with Cambodian descent. The biggest concern that I'd like to address today is the involvement of the youth in the movement of Cambodian politics and economic growth. I'd like to address the question by first exploring some challenges that Cambodian American youth were and are facing today. Cambodian Americans currently between the age of 43 and younger are children of those who escaped from Cambodia during the Khmer Rouge regime in 1975. Although born in America, they are children of immigrants. Big deal, right? In the United States, there's a lot of immigrants. It's about 15% of the population that are immigrants. However, there's two different types of immigrants, voluntary and involuntary immigrants, with the biggest difference between them being that they want to return home and perform their duty. Most immigrants are those known as voluntary immigrants, where they volunteer to come to America to pursue education, seize the opportunity, and are aware of the culture and situation to come, only to return home and contribute back to their country. Immigrants of Cambodia are involuntary immigrants, which make them refugees, an individual who have been forced to leave their country. Therefore, the parents and grandparents of the Cambodian American youth had to start over, learn a new language, live in a different culture, and follow new religion, and be placed in hard labor with low income and lost their identity. Most involuntary immigrants do not plan to return home due to the fear of persecution upon return. The impact of the Khmer Rouge regime had a major impact to the country and its people, which leads me to the next challenge. Studies show that 80% of Cambodian immigrants suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, a disorder that is commonly linked with those in the military, but is now becoming a disorder found among many individuals. PTSD can lead to anger, resentment, and depression. It is believed that Cambodian American youth go through intergenerational transfer of trauma from their parents. Due to the traumatic event that took place in Cambodia, some families either choose not to speak of what happened, or others tend to focus on the tragedy by painting a scary, ugly, and depressing picture of Cambodia. Those families that choose not to speak of what has happened find it hard to remember and too depressing to share. Instead, want their children to focus on the American dream and the opportunities. Those families that do share their experience with their children put fear into them and express America has better life, and that Cambodia, although rich in nature and culture, is not worth returning. It's very important that PTSD is identified and controlled. However, due to the Khmer culture, it's not very common to check and diagnose mental health. The effect that undiagnosed PTSD on elders affect the youth in many ways. The culture is now being lost due to the fear and depression from the past. The Cambodian American youth don't have interest in returning to Cambodia to open businesses. They aren't speaking, reading, writing Khmer. They aren't practicing Khmer culture. The youth are also facing identity crisis. Many don't know which to identify with and how to merge the two together. It was researched that Cambodian American youth have a constant struggle by asking, am I Khmer or am I Gan? Am I American? Too many the American culture and dream had a such higher demand and importance, the Cambodian identity became lost and only shown when you're with your family. Being an American has a lot of pressure on schooling, sports, extracurricular activities, leaving the youth not much time for Khmer school, Khmer dance class, Khmer practices and cultures. Although these are some of the many challenges the youth are facing, there are solutions that may help. We must first consider that although all parents and grandparents involuntarily immigrated over, it does not mean that you are not allowed to return home and help build a better Cambodia. We must face the anger and depression and remind them of the old Cambodia, the joyous time, the happy memories, and all the things before the fall of the country. You, as parents and grandparents, must share the positive things that come out of Cambodia, the culture, the temple, and the generous kind of people that we have in Cambodia. Educate your children to spread Khmer culture, educate the community of the events that are happening in Khmer. Even speak to them about what happened to you personally, the journey you took to make this far, and they will respect you much more and understand it. Acknowledge that this was traumatic and it does play a big part in your life and the lives of your family. Today, the Cambodian American youth are growing rapidly and have families of their own, producing the second Cambodian American generation. Recent trends show that people now are showing more interest in their culture and background, and so they are researching more about Cambodia and sharing to the little children by bringing them to events, going abroad, and being more aware of what is happening in the country. Resources are now becoming more available to the youth to research on their own about Khmer politics, economics, and development. Social media is quickly becoming a grand opportunity to explore outside of the community, and it is interesting, and if it impacts them, they will participate. The once immigrants are now owning and opening businesses are contributing more to society along with more opportunities for the children. There's now more movies that are coming out that are showing what happened in Khmer that are both in English and French, and there's now movies that are being shown that are, more recent as well. Even in Khmer, the youth are now more powerful than ever. More than half of the population in Khmer are under the age of 30, making Cambodia the youngest nation in Asia. 65.3% of the population are first generation to grow up after the Khmer home. The generation is fed up with the government and the way in which the country is being ran. There's a big movement among them right now that they are better educated and more skeptical of the situation. They are now able to access online news, which is not government, and therefore know what's truly going on worldwide. They are becoming more aware that they are living in an old style in a new society and are searching for change. Many young activists are growing in Cambodia and are expressing themselves in Khmer. The message behind my speech is to not give up on the youth just yet. The first generation Cambodian Americans have some involvement, but there are more hope and excitement for the new second generation Americans to come. Continue in your efforts through the summit to make a movement, to come up with an agenda for solutions and ideas for change. Lay the foundation and the youth will step up and aid in the movement. I'd like to sincerely thank my personal parents and my grandparents for giving me the opportunity to pursue my dreams and working extremely hard and allowing me to have a life here in America. My parents have always been very open with me and my siblings about Khmer and our culture. I admire the fact that they see so much more than turmoil and negativity, that they still love their country so much to be involved in an organization such as this. I also want to thank OKS for this movement and the vision of a better Cambodia. Your efforts will be worth it in the end, and you will be part of history. Please return home safely and share the things you've learned here with your children and grandchildren so that we can help grow a better America. Oh, sorry, Cambodia. Be sure not to focus on
organize OKS. I would like to speak in English. When I was invited to come to speak on unity, peace, continuing prosperity, I think really hard what do I need to come and share. My background is in mental health. I am a registered nurse. I work in the community mental health as well as in the psychiatric emergency. So during yesterday, we talked a lot about hope, trust, and what are some of the solutions. And I like what Dr. Singh proposed when we talk about unity, peace, and building trust. What if there is a solution? Today I actually want to share that there is a possibility, and I have looked into planning to share decade worth of data regarding mindfulness, which is a part of the Buddhist society, and we are already a Buddhist society, and so we can basically use what scientists have spent during the last 4 decades cultivating mindfulness to help us improve our health, gain better peace, and become more calm and focused.
Do I have a
remote?
Yes, a clicker.
Go next.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Your clicker? Oh, thank you.
To quote Peter Matthiessen, an American novelist and Zen master, the purpose of a life is to help others through it. Our country is going through a lot of turmoil right now. Many feel anxious, disempowerment, profound sense of loss regarding the state of our country and the world. A great number of us feel hopeless. The news are ramping us up with negative information. Next slide, please. So around 2,500 years ago, during the Buddha times, mankind experienced profound transformation. During this time, there's upheaval across the globe. And so during this time, Buddhas noticed that there's a lot of pain and suffering. The human condition is universal. So the question is, we all grow old, we all get sick, and we all die someday. The question is how to be okay with the present situation. So Buddha has spent 6 years, devoted his life to cultivate mindfulness skill. He said that he had found a way, a serenity, and he wanted his followers to find what he had found through his long years of meditation. So Buddha seems to have understand what we consider now as neuroplasticity, our ability to change the brain 25th century way before the word have even invented. And so I think all of us can find peace, happiness, as long as we open to see it. And I will now share with you the modern research on mindfulness. Can you go to the next slide? So, in the 1970s, Dr. John Gabbertson, he's a scientist, he's a medicine professor and researcher, and also he's a Zen master and a yoga instructor. He noticed that patients are not improving and there's a challenge. So during this time, he started to look into Eastern practice, and he started to examine clinical application of mindfulness and incorporate that into Western medicine. So he started a program called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Program. It's an 8-week program, and he found that among those with chronic illness, they are improving and they are doing better, and also they are able to control pain as well. This program it's only 8 weeks, and he looked at basically the body-mind connection, and he focused on controlling stress. And he said that all of us have this innate capacity, a capacity to learn, to heal, to transform our lives, but we need to cultivate it. We need to practice taking time. So what is this mindfulness that he's talking about? Next slide, please. Next slide. So he was the first one to basically define what mindfulness is. So to learn to pay attention on purpose to the present moment, non-judgmentally. So basically, you need to learn to train your mind to focus at this moment. Look at it as it is. And the strategy is so simple. You breathe in, and you observe your breath going in, and you breathe out, you observe your breath going out. And Sharon Salzberg, also another researchers who incorporate Buddhist practice into her teaching. She defined mindfulness as training our attention to be aware of the here and now. And there are attitude of values that through the training they teach patients to let go, to be non-judgmental, to give it time, and they cultivate patience and ask them to have a beginner mind. Beginner's mind have opportunity to grow. and they teach them to learn to trust. And I think we talk about trust. I'm going to skip because I only have 5 minutes. I'm going to skip to the actual findings. Stress-related illness right now, according to the CDC Control and Prevention, there's 80% of doctor visits are stress-related. And it is the #1 health problem in America. And stress is actually affect our overall health and well-being. Well, stress is good for us. Actually, it makes us become more effective. But the concern here from a mental health perspective is chronic stress can lead to all kinds of illness. And the areas that Bethany talked about already, Cambodian population has one of the highest anxiety, depression, and PTSD than any particular groups. And stress actually triggers anxiety, depression. I wanted to put it there is that to care for ourselves, some researchers consider that what Buddhists have taught us is that to have compassion for others, but now they look into building compassion for yourself. And there are study actually come out and said that if you study compassion, cultivate compassion, it's actually a real world solution to kind of deal with the world. And so I challenge all of you to go home today and write a dear letter to break up with all your stress. This research that I want to share is actually applied directly to our population. In the 1990s, Mark Williams and John Tisdale from Oxford and Zenda Siegel from Toronto continued to collaborate with John Gaberson from Massachusetts to incorporate what mindfulness into basically into Western cognitive science. And what they have found is basically, I would say, the greatest finding, because they have cut depression in half. In the 70s, when they first trying to address acute depression, they come up with a solution. Medicine was still the best treatment. And then they learned that cognitive therapy is also a great treatment, but it tends to come back. For those who suffer from depression, they tend to do better on medication and then get worse once they get off.
Right.
So neither doctor nor patient would like to take a lifelong medication. But what I want to share, the finding of mindfulness is that when we practice meditation, there is a center of our brain is actually growing. They found the area where self-awareness, memory, it's actually grow. There's neurons connecting, and compassion is also grow. And the stress area, the amygdala is actually shrinking, and we need that. We need that to shrink so that we can pay attention to our current situation and learn to address. And there's a personal story I want to share. Congressman Ryan of Ohio, after his 5th election in 2007, instead of going celebrating, he actually left and went to a remote mountain and started to learn to meditate. And what he found he wrote a book, A Mindful Nation, How Simple Practice Can Help Us Reduce Stress, Improve Performance, and basically he said, rebuild America. Bring everybody together, and the area that he focused most is in education. He found that children who practice mindfulness actually pay attention better. They can learn and perform better in school. So, in conclusion, Buddha's mindfulness practice reconfigure our brains to make us sharper, smarter, healthier, happier, and less anxious. And so we can continue. These are just some of research that they found reduce depression, anxiety, substance abuse, eating disorder, stress, pain, and also improving our immune systems and reduce blood pressure. Actually, among Cambodian population, there's a lot of history of high blood pressure and diabetes, and they found that to help in this area too. And so now they continue to incorporate into study cancer patient and the benefit of it. I would like to finally read a quote from a Zen master. A good community is needed to help us resist what I say unwholesome, you could say stress in general. So mindful living protect us and help us go in the direction of peace. With the support of friends and family, peace has a chance. Best wish to everyone.
Việc chẳng lại sầm rạch đau chia diện mình men bàn liếm tạm chật cật và đây pro người so quan phật đọc sai chỉ vật có ắt sọc sắc mà rất miền biển bình prey tại sắc ở đây có xây đây sầm mọc sắc mà rất ai ná nâng vào sầm rạch bàn chọc nông mọt ao cùn xì khiêm bát khen cầm riêng Xong chuẩn bị xua ở lúc xây nhiều kết vô tập ọc chỉ tiêu học ảng tăng điểm ai lúc xây sổ hoàn đại chia pro thiên cái nặng cam bát ca đám quay rất thích quan nào rồi bọc bộ rắc mái nơi cây có thể đã hai cắt thá đơ CEROC một kia việc mình nó mà hà sân bắt mái thì phục lô Lực tí phí nửa rắc Minnisota như đi Bông ôn chân rùm chiết tập ôn chỉ tí cửa rộng rộng ảng Vì hút lương ban chạc chân phát phí dục Xong kriêm project chiên đo dục phát trả bọn Hỏi Campuchia đo ảo khoa mùi đi Bạn xóa phân lương và chia tóc tay khá Krong ca trông trên Rồi bỏ ông ca hạt và chi tiết ở miền ca quan nào nơi năm buổi quan của vua nói ca sập bảy từ 8 kết sân ya nơi kết prong prieng sân để tiếp thì trong Paris nơi ngay khi một bay tổ la năm buổi quan của vua nói ca sập bảy cả một người kia World Khmers nơi cây của tê và miền rất thích cho không quan nào giải kinh lịch tại cây mau Kalau kadang orang dari kena kamu kaget dari campur naut, dan ni nak sok kata kau mencoba, pasal World Khmers dari kau penting, menteri ban kep doa seti, awak jauh kau pasal lain. Kena kamu kaget, sampai seti pasal rumah World Khmers dari kau penting, cap kemana dari 5 2010. Bạn vừa cái ca chỉ tràn nông ca của chất nghĩa ca pro mô nhật vì bông ổn dưỡng là khai có tên chẳng ổn ក្នុងនោះគឺមានបងប្អូនយើងជាច្រើននៅរដ្ឋមនីសតាបានចូលរួមចុះហត្ថលេខាផងដែរហើយយើងខ្ញុំសូមថ្លែងអំណរអរគុណយ៉ាងជ្រាលជ្រៅពីទីបំផុតយើងបានជួបពិភាក្សាជាមួយកោជបថ្មីដែលជាអតីតកោជបលោកគួយពន្រឿនដំណាក់ដែលមកពីតូតាគណៈបកសង្គ្រោះជាតិលោករងឈុនដែលមកពីសង្គមស៊ីវិលជាដើមហើយយើងបានសរសេរលិខិតទៅប្រធានក្រុមតំណាងរាជគណៈបកសម្លេងពាក្យតិចគឺលោកសុនឆៃនៃគណៈបកសង្គ្រោះជាតិដើម្បីជួយពង្រឹងច្បាប់មួយបានកើតឡើងដាក់ចូលទៅសភាដើម្បីធ្វើវិសោធនកម្មដែលអាចឲ្យពលរដ្ឋខ្មែរនៅក្រៅប្រទេសអាចមានសិទ្ធិបោះឆ្នោតបានតែជាអកុសលក្រោមការដឹកនាំរបស់រដ្ឋាភិបាលសពថ្ងៃមិនអនុញ្ញាតឲ្យពលរដ្ឋខ្មែរនៅក្រៅប្រទេសតែត្រូវបានគេផាត់ចោលនិងប្រវេសស្ទើរពលរដ្ឋខ្មែរនៅក្នុងប្រទេសក៏ត្រូវបានគេលិះពណ៌និងធ្វើទុកបុកម្នេញគ្រប់បែបយ៉ាងហើយគ្រាន់តែពួកគេមាននិន្នាការគ្រប់គ្រងគណៈបព្វជិតឬនិន្នាការតតាដូចជាសង្គមស៊ីវិលជាដើមមកដល់ថ្ងៃនេះគឺ27ឆ្នាំហើយក្រោយកិច្ចព្រមព្រៀងសន្តិភាពទីក្រុងប៉ារីសដែលប្រទេសកម្ពុជាក្រោមការដឹកនាំរបស់រដ្ឋាភិបាលសពថ្ងៃបានបំផ្លិចបំផ្លាញចោលលទ្ធិប្រជាធិបតេយ្យសេរីពហុបកចោលដោយសារតែមើលឃើញថាគណៈបព្វជិតគឺគណៈបកសង្គ្រោះជាតិអាចមានប្រជាប្រិយភាពគ្រប់គ្រងពីប្រជាជនយ៉ាងច្រើនបាទទុកឲ្យមានការប្រកួតប្រជែងបោះឆ្នោតមួយដោយសុក្រិតត្រឹមត្រូវនឹងយុត្តិធម៌ការបោះឆ្នោតថ្ងៃទី29កក្កដាឆ្នាំ2018នេះក៏ជាឆាកល្ខោនប្រជាពិធបោកប្រាស់ប្រជាពលរដ្ឋខ្មែរថាមានពហុបកតែប៉ុណ្ណោះតែតាមការពិតប្រជាពលរដ្ឋខ្មែរនិងសហគមន៍អន្តរជាតិមិនអាចទទួលយកបាននៅរបបដឹកនាំបែបឯកបកនិងផ្ដាច់ការបែបនេះក្រោមការជួយជ្រោមជ្រែងពីសហគមន៍អន្តរជាតិជាពិសេសប្រទេសចុះហត្ថលេខីនៃកិច្ចព្រមព្រៀងសន្តិភាពទីក្រុងប៉ារីសប្រជាពលរដ្ឋខ្មែរទាំងក្នុងប្រទេសនិងក្រៅប្រទេសបដិញ្ញាឬបដូរផ្ដាច់ឲ្យបានបោះឆ្នោតឡើងវិញមានការចូលរួមពីគណៈបកសង្គ្រោះជាតិនិងមានការចូលរួមពីគណៈបកផ្សេងៗទៀតនិងមានការដោះលែងលោកប្រធានកឹមសុខានិងអ្នកទស្សនយោបាយទាំងអស់ទុកជាមុខយៈនៅច្បាប់ទាំងឡាយណាដែលស្ទើរពីរដ្ឋធម្មនុញ្ញនិងអនុវត្តជាក់ស្ដែងតាមរដ្ឋធម្មនុញ្ញដើម្បីឲ្យតុលាការឯករាជ្យពង្រឹងសមត្ថភាពស្ថាប័នព្រះមហាក្សត្រមន្ត្រីរាជការសង្គមស៊ីវិលនិងកងប្រដាប់អាវុធត្រូវតែឯករាជ្យជាដើមសូមអរគុណជាអនេកតកាជាទីបញ្ចប់នេះខ្ញុំបាទសូមប្រសិទ្ធពរជ័យសិរីមង្គលពីពលសុខសេនសាននិងជូនពរនៅពុទ្ធពរទាំងឡាយ4ប្រការគឺអាយុវណ្ណៈសុខៈពលៈកុំបីគ្លៀកគ្លាឡើយសូមអរគុណ
សូមអរគុណលោកប្អូនតែជំស្រៀងអរគុណនៅវិទ្យាបណ្ឌិតបុផានីហើយនឹងអ្នកគ្រូពេទ្យបរស៊ីបាទថ្ងៃនេះយើងមានពេទ្យច្រើនត្រូវការជំនួយបាទត្រូវការជំនួយយើងពុកធ្វើអារម្មណ៍តែទីមានមួយខ្ញុំមកដល់ពេទ្យមួយទៀតហើយដូច្នេះយើងមានប្រហែលជា4នាទីសម្រាប់ question បើសិនជាមានបើថាមិនមានទេយើងនឹងបញ្ចប់កម្មវិធីហើយនឹងយើងទទួលទានអាហារពេលថ្ងៃត្រង់នេះហើយនឹងយើងចាប់ដើមសារឡើងវិញនៅម៉ោង 1 I believe ការវត្តទៅquestion ក៏មានសំណួរតែចាំសួរតែយើងមិនទៅនេះ
សំភារខមមិនឡើងទៅលើវិញបានបាទសំឡើងវិញ
តាមបែប
three speakers, please welcome back on stage. There will be questions, okay? Okay, prepare.
So we have 2 questions only, right? Okay, can Bob Tom
I just want to let you all know.
Yeah.
The food smells so good.
Yeah. I'm hungry. Okay. Okay, I believe Scott has a question to Can you specific to who?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
First, I want to express a personal experience. When I helped found the IKA, the organization was founded by 25 veterans. And every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, we would meet. We would discuss what our dreams were and what we wanted to do. And it became a very important part of fellowship. But every once in a while, we would have an episode. And for me, I didn't know how to handle that. It was similar to what we had today. And so after occasionally this would happen, and finally I didn't know what to do, so I went to the Wilder Foundation. And I talked to the psychiatrist there and said what I was doing, and they said the condition is so severe in Minnesota that they don't have enough doctors to treat the most severe cases. And the doctor said, Scott, what are you doing? And so all we do is we fellowship at 10 o'clock on Saturdays. She says, that is the best thing you can do. Okay? Fellowship. What we experience today is what I experienced. He does not mean to be disrespectful to you. He admires you, and he spent his time to come here and express his feelings because he doesn't have anywhere else to express them. So it's important that we continue to foster fellowship and give him an opportunity to talk and express himself. And my veterans slowly found out. And they were able to do magnificent things together. What major thing that I really had to overcome was the term PTSD. Most people think that PTSD means that you're crazy. That's a taboo. No, I'm not crazy. No, you're not crazy. So we decided that we would change the term. And we invented a term called genocide syndrome, identifying them. You're not crazy. You went through genocide. Own it. Discuss it. And so we use genocide syndrome now, and it is less offensive. It means it has a significant difference. We've got it defined. It is persistent, long-term exposure. Okay, not like a soldier. We might have a week or an incident, but when you spend nearly 4 years under those conditions, it is severe. It is very severe. I wanted to also mention that the doctors say that it is so severe in Cambodian communities that it is now jumping from one generation to another because of the second generation has been exposed to this. And so we must continue to talk about it. Do this. We need this many more times. So thank you.
Nhiềuខ្ញុំមានឱកាសនិយាយជាមួយបងស្រីដែរសម័យបានខ្ញុំជា certified psychiatric professional គឺតាមពិតចំពោះសង្គមខ្មែរយើងខ្ញុំថា 80% នេះតិចណាស់ដែលថាយើង afflicted with some sort of anxiety or depression or thought disorder គឺតិចណាស់ពីព្រោះឯងយើងគិតថាអ្នកណាក៏ដោយឲ្យតែធ្លាប់រស់នៅក្នុងសង្គមប៉ុលពតហ្នឹងណាខ្ញុំជឿថា 100% បាទតិចមិនច្រើនបាទគឺមានការជឿចាប់ទាំងអស់គ្នាសូម្បីថាយើងអបមកថានិយាយជាមួយអ្នកណាម្នាក់ដែលថាមានការរស់នៅក្នុងសង្គមហ្នឹងដែលមាន ទទួលខុសត្រូវរងគ្រោះដោយគេវាយដោយគេតបដោយគេធ្វើបាបអីមួយហ្នឹងគឺបើមិនអ្នកហ្នឹងទេគឺបងប្អូនអ្នកហ្នឹងបាទដូចជាលោកពូវិជ្ជបណ្ឌិតខ្ញុំយកគាត់ទៅតម្លាក់ក្នុងផ្ទះមិនសិនគាត់ថាមានបងប្អូនគាត់ក៏មានស្លាប់គាត់មកនៅនេះមែនប៉ុន្តែបងប្អូនស្លាប់ដូច្នេះគាត់ហ្នឹងក៏មានវិបត្តិផ្លូវចិត្តដែរគឺគេហៅភាសាអង់គ្លេសថា vicarious trauma ឬក៏ secondary trauma PTSD ស្អីហ្នឹងគឺវាមានទាំងអស់តាមពិតខ្ញុំមានកម្មវិធីហ្នឹង7-8ឆ្នាំមុនខ្ញុំធ្វើនៅ public television នៅក្នុង Minnisota នេះគឺ Echo ខ្មែរ mental health បើសិនជាបងប្អូនចង់មើលពីរបៀបគេថាជួយរំលែកនៅពេលដែលយើងមានបញ្ហាយើងមិនអាច compartmentalize បញ្ហាហ្នឹងជួនកាលវាយើងខ្លាំងណាស់យើងជាមនុស្ស we are vibrant we are resilient but that there's a time and point that we can only be stretched so far there's a breaking point for anything បាទដូច្នេះខ្ញុំអរគុណខ្ញុំក៏មានប៉ុណ្ណឹងឯងក៏ខ្ញុំអរគុណច្រើនអរគុណទីបញ្ចប់បាទណាបងបាទយើងបញ្ចប់កម្មវិធីបាទហើយដូច្នេះខ្ញុំបាទសូមថ្លែងអំណរគុណចំពោះវាគ្មិនបាទនេះជាទំពាំងថ្នល់រស័យនៃសហគមន៍របស់យើងហើយដូច្នេះកម្មវិធីបានយើងមកដល់ទៅទីបញ្ចប់នៅក្នុងព្រឹកនេះហើយសូមអញ្ជើញបងប្អូនពិសាភោជនាហារដ៏ឆ្ងាញ់ឈ្ងុយឆ្ងាញ់នៅចាំយើងនោះហើយយើងបន្តការប្រជុំរបស់យើងក្នុងវេលាម៉ោង1ហើយដូច្នេះសូមអរគុណសាច់មិនម្ដងទៀតចំពោះវាគ្មិនទាំងអស់ speaker ទាំងអស់ដែលបានធ្វើអធិប្បាយក៏ប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំបាទជាអ្នករៀបចំ OKS ដែលសូមមេត្តាប្រេងតោដោយតាមមានការអនុវត្តបន្តិចអំពីមនុស្សម្នាក់គឺថាដូច្នេះយើងនឹងបន្តកិច្ចការយើងទៅទៀតដូច្នេះការសង្ឃឹមរបស់យើងនៅតែមានតទៅមុខទៀតទោះជាអ្នកណាមករំខានយើងមិនក៏ដោយគឺយើងត្រូវតែបន្តកិច្ចការរបស់យើងរហូតដល់ថ្ងៃស្អែកនិងថ្ងៃទីបញ្ចប់ឲ្យមានជោគជ័យបាទសូមអរគុណ
Myself, I just like to express my thanks to Mr. Scott Walker. What he said is so important. Please pay attention. No question is bad question. We welcome any kind. That's how we win. That's how we succeed in everything that we do. Okay, do not eliminate anyone. Everyone taking their special, precious time, sacrifice their time from their family, from near or far, to be here, to learn together, to put ourselves together, to work, to calm ourselves, and smart, to be smart, and to be able to answer in any question, not now, but we can answer the next day, the next week, the next month. So I just would like to encourage everyone to love, to care, to support, and to welcome. And again, Mr. Scott Walker, I support you. Thank you.
មុនដំបូងខ្ញុំសូម salute my Cambodian American veteran ដូច្នេះនឹងទី1ហើយទី2ខ្ញុំសូមអរគុណគ្នាយើងទាំងអស់ខ្ញុំចេះតែគិតថាកម្ដៅវាខ្លាំងនៅស្រុកយើងហើយនឹងនៅទីនេះជាការពិតបាទមុននឹងដល់មហោបអាហារហ្នឹងខ្ញុំសូមនិយាយតែ2 minutes ព្រោះអានឹងវាសំខាន់ដែរថា too long ដូច្នេះ I need only 1 minute បាទបើនិយាយអំពីរឿង mental health ក្នុង research មួយនៅ Massachusetts ពីឆ្នាំ96ខ្មែរមានបញ្ហា trauma ពិសេស mental health ហ្នឹងរហូតដល់ 96% នៅ Minnisota មាន 67% នៅក្នុងការស្រាវជ្រាវរបស់ខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់បាទខ្ញុំធ្វើ research មួយជាមួយនឹង Dr. សៃលីគុំបាទ ដូច្នេះមានចំនួនច្រើនដែរតែយើងត្រូវទទួលស្គាល់ថាជាការពិតបាទរឿងនោះជាការពិតដូច្នេះយើងមានការអាណិតអាសូរដល់ពលរដ្ឋរបស់យើងបាទដោយសារបញ្ហាដែលជួបមហោបអាហារថ្ងៃនេះប្រហែលជាលឺធំឈ្ងុយបាទនេះបាទដូច្នេះមានអ្នកស្មោ2នាក់បាទហើយភរិយារបស់ខ្ញុំបាទនៅខាងក្រោយនោះបាទសេរីបាទសុំក្រោយចូលដុតដៃដុតជើងក្នុងរយៈពេល2 ថ្ងៃនេះបាទរៀបចំសពអត់យ៉ាងបើអត់មានគាត់ខ្ញុំនឹងធ្វើមិនទេកន្លែងខ្លះបាទត្រូវអត់បាយអីមកបាទហើយមួយទៀតមីថូបាទមីថូអរគុណហើយមួយទៀតសូមអរគុណបងប្អូនទាំងអស់ដែលបងលធាបងរីដែរបងរីសាវបាទបងរីបាទគឺអ្នកធ្វើចំណាយទេបាទអរគុណដូច្នេះខ្ញុំជឿថាមហូបថ្ងៃនេះធ្វើដោយហូមេដបាទអត់រេស្តូរ៉ង់ទេដូច្នេះខ្ញុំជឿថាខ្ញុំហើយក៏មិនខានតែបាទសូមអរគុណលោកអរយន្តបាទហើយដើម្បីមុននឹងយើងពិសាបាយបាទសូមមេត្តាភ័យទោសដោយសារយើងត្រូវឲ្យអវត្តកិច្ចសម្រាប់តែវាមិនយើងបានមកចាប់អារម្មណ៍នេះខ្ញុំថាសូមអញ្ជើញវាមិននឹង3នាក់មិញហ្នឹងឥឡូវត្រឡប់មកវិញបាទហើយសូមជម្រាបបងទៅពុកបាទហើយពិចារណាខ្លះបាទសូមអញ្ជើញមកលើចិត្តដល់ពេលចំនួនក្រោយជាចាំដងវិស័យរបស់យើងដើម្បីផ្លាស់ព្រោះតែទៀតគឺថាយើងទៅហើយដូច្នេះត្រូវតែមានអ្នកនៅពីក្រោយយើងបន្តការយើងបាននេះមុននឹងបន្តិចលោកចតមានប្រសាសន៍ហូបឆ្ងាញ់ខ្ញុំសូមតែដាក់ម្សៅស៊ុបច្រើនអូនអូខេទុកស្រាអត់មែនបាទសូមអរគុណច្រើនអស់លោកអ្នកឥឡូវវិព្រឹកនេះក៏ខ្ញុំសូមណាស់ផ្លេចសូមទទួលស្គាល់ហើយស្វាគមន៍ម្ដងទៀតលោករៀនឆ្លងដុកវិហ័យសានពី Washington State ហើយអ្នកបងស្រីគ្រួសារអ្នកបងស៊ីបាទឥឡូវសូមជូនដល់វាគ្មិន3នាក់អំបញ្ញមិញបាទពីព្រោះល្ងាចនេះយើងមានជូន certificate ច្រើនទៀតឥឡូវអស់លោកអ្នកដែលអញ្ជើញមកនេះមានជាបឋមដុកទ័របុផានីហែងខ្ញុំអានតែមួយទេតំណែងទាំង3ហ្នឹងហើយជូនទៅម្នាក់មួយបាទមហាសន្និបាតកំពូលខ្មែរនីសមុទ្រ Overseas Khmers Summit 2018 Certificate of Appreciation is hereby granted to Dr. Bopani Ham for attending the summit as a speaker presenter to help solve Cambodian community issues or Cambodia's crisis. This certificate is conferred at the Overseas Khmers Summit held on the 3rd, 4th and 5th days of August 2018 in Minnisota Heights, Minnesota, USA. Summit theme, Khmer Unity, Peace, Continuity, Prosperity with the 1991 Paris Agreements. So thank you, Dr. Bopani. បាទហើយសូមអរគុណ Mrs. Dorothy Paul បាទហើយនៅវាគ្មិនយើងម្នាក់ទៀតលោកជូនដល់លោកសុផាន់សេងប៉ុន្តែលោកតំណាងនិយាយជំនួសមិនចាំយើងផ្ញើជូនគាត់ផងបាទសូមអរគុណច្រើនបាទសូមអញ្ជើញអ្នកពិសាបាយឲ្យឆ្ងាញ់បាទមកមួយគត់ចាប់ដើមបាទសូមអរគុណចាប់ដើមទៀតតមកមួយរៀនមួយតាមជួយទូអូនឆៃអូនឆោអូនឆោ